this adds differently, like, so like when it is the string, it will add every character, or in the same way, let's say if I give, so the same len function is acting differently when it is having the input as a string, or when it is having a list as an input. Similarly, if you take addition operator, when you add two numbers in Python, it will give you the output of the two added result. But when you try to do some addition for a string or a list, what it will do, it will just join the list. When you try to add the two string, what it will do, it will combine it and it will make it as a one string. The same addition operator is behaving differently for different kinds of data types, right? That's what you call it as polymorphism. Okay. Let's say first what we are going to see is called operator overloading in Python. So that's what I said now. We'll say the same example. So operator overloading means, like, normally what will do operators, they are used in Python to perform some specific operations on the given inputs, right? So that operation, any particular operator will perform on any predefined data type, right? For every operator will have a, let's say, a different way of operands. For example, we'll take the same plus operator. Adding two integers, it is giving an integer as a result. When you use two float values, it will give float as a result. If you add two string, it will give two string as a result. The different behavior of the same operator with the different inputs, right? This process is called operator overloading. Okay. So let's say, can plus operator add anything? No, right? You can use the plus operator to add two objects of the class, or you can use it to add two integers, float values, or to concatenate two strings only. Why you are doing these things? Because they are predefined in Python. These behaviors are predefined. If the input are two string, join them. It is already defined them in Python. But what if you try to do the operator some process which is not predefined? It will not work. It will throw you some error. Let's say if you want to use the same operator to add two objects of the class. Have you tried adding objects of the class? Then it will throw error actually. Okay, let's see how it is done. Let me create one class. We try to add a class name as complex. I'm creating a vector self. So complex number will have one real number and one imaginary number. R is equal to, I'm going to denote it as real and that as imaginary. I'm going to create two objects for the class complex. Let it be 5 comma 3 though, and C2 as complex, let it be 2 comma 4. So it has to add these two numbers. How the output will be like 7 plus 7 I will come. So real plus imaginary number will be followed by I. That's how it should work, right? So that's our expected output. Let's try adding two objects. Let me give, let's say, sum equal to C1 plus C2. So it is showing unsupported operand type for complex and complex. So what is the meaning? Like, it is not supported in a user defined class. Adding the plus operator, this functionality is not there. Okay. But you can do or achieve the same by overloading this plus operator for our complex class. How to overload the operators? In order to do this kind of work, there are some special functions in Python. Okay, special function means, let's say, which are used to perform special tasks similar to this. Okay, these kind of function, they will have two underscores uh, before and after their name, like this. Let's how you represent in it. Similarly, we have some special functions to do overloading operator. Let's say we'll do for mathematical operator, we have add function for adding, overloading this plus operator, sub function for subtracting, mul for multiplication, true do for division, and we have modulus power. We have many um, add functions as well, like we have operator functions, everything. Let's try to do this overload this plus operator. We are going to give extra functionality to this plus operator so that it will add complex number inside the class as well. Okay, now in the same code, what we will do, we will add one function. So let me first write the syntax of that function. Will be the name of the function will be add, and it will have self and other as a mandatory argument. This is how the special function will be represented. Now let me create a class. Let it be a special function add. So self, and instead of other, I am just adding a secondary number. Okay. So here what we are going to do is we are going to define two sentences for real and imaginary. So real number, how you will add in the above example, you will add this real number plus this real number. And for imaginary number, you will do imaginary plus imaginary. So let me add real number is equal to self dot real. So I will call this real with the self object one time, and using this SEC also, the secondary number also one time. So that dot real, and the same will be applied for imaginary. So self dot img secondary parameter dot ing. So now what we are going to do, we are now going to return these r and I into this functions again. Let me return. Okay. So now what we will do, we will call the function here again. Why? Because we are going to make the second number as a string, because that second number is an imaginary number which will be accompanied by alphabet I, so it will be considering it as a string, right? So we have to return those as a string objects. Let me give a function called string, where we will return both the real and imaginary numbers as a combination of a string values. So self dot real output will be the real number which is converted into string, and real number plus imaginary. That's how it should be, right? So I am going to print the plus as well. So this is like normal concatenation. I am converting the imaginary numbers and real numbers into string, and then I am running them. Let me give self dot imaginary, and again plus I, 7 plus 7I. That's how it should be, right? So if these numbers are float or integers, you won't be able to add them with I in the output, right? It will show unsupported format, again a type error. You won't be able to add integer with a string. So I have converted all the numbers into string, so that at the end you will be able to see the output correctly. Okay, so let me run the code again. Okay, now you can see the add operator is doing the same addition for complex numbers as well. Similarly, you can do the same for other operators as well. You can refer to like Python special function. It will give you a list in which you can do um, the special function operators, like the one that we did, right? str. This is also another special function. What it will do is, it is used to provide a format which is suitable for printing. You can print it in any format because you are using a string function, right? Whatever the input can be, whatever the format you want to print the output, it will be helpful in printing that in the format. Okay. And yes, let me.
So complex is a inbuilt function.
Yes, yes. This complex is a inbuilt function, like for adding the complex numbers.
Okay, and in line number 16, what does that I denote in the last? I mean, it was an image variable which we took, but why are we not assigning any data type? Like it's adding it. I understood that's self dot real plus self dot imaginary, but what does this I denote in the
Like
end?
this is just a format I am referring to. Like this is
Okay,
how your complex number will be represented, right? Real number plus a image number which will be followed by some string. So here this I is denoting the imaginary number portion. I'm just writing it to concatenate all them so that it will be, you can see the output, it will be in that format. So this is a integer which I'm converting it to string, and this
right.
plus I am printing here, and this high here in this is output is representing the j, which is any
Okay,
imaginary alphabet.
okay,
Or if you want, you can just convert it into a string, no problem. This will work now. It will print it as I itself in the output. So now it is totally as a string.
okay. But I didn't come. I think it came as a J only, right?
Okay, this j is like it's because of this function which we are calling
Complex.
inside. Yes.
Uh, when is this add function getting invoked? Because we are not invoking anywhere. So at what instant this add function is getting called?
Like there are like many special function, like you can use it if you have a scenario like where you want to do extra functionals for the same operator, you can use this. It depends upon the scenario. It's not only this mathematical operators. We have some like relational operator special functions, or like modulus power function also you can use that.
Yes, but my question is the line number 14 invoking line number 11?
So the question is, where are we invoking the add function, the special function which we have made in line number 611? So we have not called it anywhere. So how is that executing? So I think that's the question. Line number 11.
Oh no, you don't have to invoke them. That's the special function. That's what here you have given init function. You won't be invoking it anywhere, right? So that's the same. You won't be invoking any of the special functions inside a class. Normal function or normal method you define, you call them until them it won't be executed. But whatever the function that comes with the prefix and suffix or underscores or special function, it will be invoked internally.
So are these
You
kind of private functions? I mean, I understand that they have an underscore in the end as well.
No, it's not private. You can call them as special function. It's just the Python's concept of providing operator overloading or any kind of overloading. You can use this function.
Okay.
So like there are some set of inbuilt functions. You can imagine them like a inbuilt functions which you can use inside a class. And these are not like private also. Private is different. Like private means you have to you won't be able to call them. If you want to call them also, you have to use setter or get method to call them or to view them. This doesn't need anything. You just create them in your class. It will be like automatically called by Python internally. You don't need to like give it like externally to call these functions.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
So you have done C1 plus C2 on line number 23. Can you
Line
try printing C1 and C2? What value of the
You want to print C1 and C2. Imaginary numbers. Yes.
What did you tell about this I, like how it is converting to J? Matlab, you have written.
So this is the representation that we have given, but since we are calling the complex inbuilt function inside, maybe it would have defined in such a way that the complex number would be like ending with J or some alphabet. I is what we have given. What I thought is the complex function which we have called here would have like a default as J. This I which is coming here, right? This is the output of this string function which we have invoked. This is like whatever number you give inside, it will be returned in this particular format. That is the output of these two C1 and C2. But this is the output of this add function. So add function which is returning the complex functions output.
So just in case if we had another object C3 of this class, will it work? I mean, will be able to execute that overloading on 3 objects, or is it only C1, C2, two
Like
objects we can?
you have to like modify the function accordingly. Here you have given only two objects, like let's say, oh, you are talking about objects or the complex numbers.
Sorry, the
You
complex
can
is
add, like complex number part, this 5 3, that is only two parts we have defined. But object you can add many number of objects. You can give C3 also, you can add C1, C2, C3, it will give you the output as well. But if you are asking about like complexity of this particular numbers, it will add only two numbers. Complex will have only imaginary and real. Yeah.
we have, yeah, two only. I mean, we are defining that variables. Okay, let me try those 3 objects. Okay.
Sure. Yeah,
Um,
yes.
Can you just comment out this line number 25 and try to print the results?
To comment out this.
Yeah, just run it.
Yes.
So you are saying we are not calling anywhere add and str function because these are special functions.
Okay.
So when we are assigning this value to C1 complex 5 and 3, so it must be going to that add function, correct?
Yes.
So and in add function you have that complex function written complex r comma a.
Yes. But unless you use the operator here, see, I have used the add operator over here. This add function is, you can imagine like it is a functionality. These both are linked. Unless you use this operator, this won't be, you won't be able to see the output of this. Wherever you are using this operator, then only that particular portion will be executed. So now I'm just printing only the object, so only this output you are able to see. So wherever you use this add operator, this functionality will be invoked.
Okay, so so string is also a special function. Okay, so so string is getting invoked by default because it's a special function. So why for add we need to define it like a C1 plus C2? Why it's not getting invoked automatically if it's also a special function?
This add is a special function which is nothing but a replacement of the operator which what we are trying to do here. We are trying to overload the functionality of this plus symbol only, right? So in order to do that only, this plus symbol is connected to this add operator. If you want to overload the, or if you want to change the functionality of minus symbol, you use the corresponding mapped function which is __ sub. So you won't be able to do any other functionality or any other functionality for add operator, right? So these two are mapped. The symbol and that particular add function is mapped. So only when you call it, you will be like to change the functionality, you can use that function. That's what you call it as special function. String here, it is not mapped to any of the operator here. String you cannot map to any of the operator. It is just whatever output format you want. I want to print it in the form of algebra equation, or I want to print it in the form of a complex number. I can use that in by using this particular string function.
Okay. Okay.
But
Do
if
you
we
have
are
a list of this?
no, please go
Yes.
ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have a list of these functions, special functions that you call and their mappings, like how you said for sub
Yes,
minus
yes.
you will use sub?
I have.
So
I will send it to you. In
yes,
the
please.
second day's notes, I will add those points as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, just do a hands-on and let me know if you have any more further questions. We'll start the next topic in few minutes.